Hello students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you are able to see the screen, students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If the screen is visible from your end, can I get a quick confirmation from your students? So we are going to go through the ratio analysis of our organization, that is Daistruk group and the carry group, so that you will understand it very clearly and very easily as well. Now, students, before I start going through the financial analysis, I just want to give you a small guidance about our competitor. Because in the previous classes, we went through fully of the internal analysis and the external analysis, but we did not do the competitor analysis, if I'm not mistaken. So students understand it very well. This is like a real business situation. Firstly, you need to understand your organization. Secondly, you need to understand the market. Thirdly, you need to understand your competitors in the market. Then only when you are evaluating the strategy, it will become extremely productive and efficient. Now, students, in this case, if you observe this very clearly, now let's see this very properly, students. Now, Daistruk is one of the largest 3PL logistic provider in Roundline. Now, students understand it very well that we already know. Its biggest competitor is Carry. So, students, the biggest competitor is Carry, which provides similar range of services to Daistruk, including a full intermodal service. Students, can someone tell me what does this term full intermodal service? I don't think we do have a full intermodal. We have an intermodal service. Now, I'll just quickly take you to our business process so that you will understand it more clearly and more efficiently. Now, students, if you observe in our business, students, Daistruk, we have inventory, shared user, outsourced, railway, everything. And then, if I am not mistaken, students, we do have, if I am not mistaken, students, we do have and intermodal. So they are telling we have an intermodal only, if I am not mistaken. Now, students, I just want to ask you a question. What does the understanding of full intermodal means? Any idea, students? Now, here we are having rail transport and intermodal they have mentioned, and that's very clear for us. Now, in this case, if it is full intermodal, based on the information we have, the understanding here is full intermodal means, in simple language, what does it mean, students? They do have one additional service. What is that additional service, students? Air cargo. Students, what is that additional service? Air cargo. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understand that, students? They have air cargo as well. That is only known as full intermodal service. Now, students, does our company have air cargo? I don't think so. We do have sea transportation. We do have rail transportation. And we do have the road transformation. But the air cargo is generally outsourced or third parties handling on behalf of us. But can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood the full intermodal service? Can I get a confirmation there, students? Full intermodal service. Land, sea, air, rail, and this is only known as full intermodal service. A small verb, students, full intermodal service would effectively change the answer. The logistic industry is very competitive. Most large entities have outsourced these functions already. The volume of available business depends on the level of economic activities. Now, students, here it's very clear and understandable. Now, I just want to ask you a question before we go on to the detailed analysis. Any questions you have in this basics what we have done? That is critically important, students. Any questions you have on the basics? Because if your basics is having a doubt, later when we are analyzing, it will be a bigger problem for you. Can I get a confirmation from your students if you understood that point of view there? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you students if you got that point of view there? Can I get a double Y in the confirmation, students, if you are fine with that, students? Any questions you have, you can ask me, but I need a clarity from your side. If you are clear with that full intermodal explanation, that is very, very important. That affects our analysis. That's affecting our analysis. Thank you. Thank you. So I believe everyone is in the class. So I believe everyone is in the class. It is fine for all. Excellent. Thank you, students. Now, students, now if you see, I have to be very much strategic based person in this analysis. Now, our revenue growth is 9.89. And if you see, our competitor is 8.96, a very tiny growth, but I'm not satisfied. Although we are having a better revenue growth, I'm still not satisfied. Ranganathan, can you tell me why I'm not satisfied? I'm not satisfied. We are leading, but still I'm not satisfied. Why do you think, Ranganathan? Anson, why do you think I'm not satisfied? I'm the strategic level person. You are my finance manager. Now I am in the strategic level. You think I'm one of the board member. I'm not satisfied, Anson. As a finance manager, can you tell me why I'm not satisfied?
So maybe considering the market share we have, we are supposed to have much more revenue growth, or considering the dominance we have in the market.
Thank you. Any other point of view, anyone in the class? Now, my point of view is very simple. Now, students, you see, you need to be very much related to the case. Now, understand it very well, students. We are the first company in Roundland to introduce an automated container terminal. Now, after such a large level of investment, 40 maybe born 3,000 straddle carriers, we have fully automated. Correct, no, students, but still our automation's efficiency is not sufficient. Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you understood it? Just a marginal increase, students. Just a marginal increase. Are you understanding what I'm meaning there, students? It's just a marginal increase. So I'm asking the question which the shareholders will ask me in the board meeting or the shareholders annual general meeting. They'll ask you, you have invested in this, but what is the point of view? It's only not even 1% higher than our competitor. So can I get a double Y in the confirmation there, students? Although there is a automation and we are the first mover to have this automation, the terminal is not giving us enough revenue growth. Correct. You mean the investment of the automated is not justifying the revenue growth share. Correct. The revenue growth is not at all higher compared with the automation, right, students? Can I get a confirmation from your students? Because shareholders will ask you a question. Remember, you are accountable to the shareholders. They will ask you a question. What is happening to our money of this? So I'll write down here. The revenue growth is marginally higher. The revenue growth is marginally higher. Is marginally higher than, I can say, carry. Although we have invested in 40, you need to remember this verb, students. Why we bomb? 3,000 straddle carrier. And automated the container terminal function. There is no proper outcome as expected. Although we are the first mover in Roundland. Now, students, sometimes some automations will not be successful. Do you agree with me, students? Yes or no? Now, this can be an examination question for you all. So be careful with this automation function, students. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you got that application clearly, students? Because That is relatively important in order to make sure that you are able to connect this answer properly to the situation. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you got that application properly there, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if that is clear for you all? Are you understanding that point of view, students? The automation is not good. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? The automation is not good. So I'm going to write down here, there needs to be some investigation and audit related to this process. This is very, very essential. And also, still, the fully intermodal function of carry may be creating value to the market. Since vegetables and perishable items need air cargo. So students, are you understanding what I am explaining here, students? We have done a good application, but still, students, it is not value adding to the situation. Are you clear with that? Any questions, any doubts you have, you can ask me. But do you observe the thinking is very different from the management case study? Now, in the management case study, we think like a manager accounting to the senior management. But in the strategic case study, we are thinking specifically like we are accounting back to the shareholders who give finance to our organization. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box?
I have a doubt, sir.
Yes, please. Yes,
sir,
please.
Sir, installing this 40 people on 3,000 stadia carriers will not increase the customer base, right? So before installing this, we were having the manual labors, like the skilled labors for all these purposes. So the skilled labors were all completing all these works and all. But now after installing this 3,000 straddle carriers, this manpower has been reduced and it has been digitally automated. So it doesn't mean that our the revenue
should go up.
Should go up. Only the activity which we are doing should be more digitalized, right? So it is more the development of
understood. I understood your question.
Yeah, so is there any relation between the revenue and this process?
Yeah, I'm going to give the answer for that. So if you observe in these industry students, you need to understand when the numbers, the speed is important, if I'm not mistaken. That means how fast you are able to give the logistics moving. Now they have invested in this, operational efficiency would go up. That is 100% agreed with the question. But effectively, when the operational efficiency is going up, the revenue also should effectively go up. The rationale behind that is when your functions are speed, that means more customers should turn around. Now, in this case, there is no evidences. There is some evidences of a marginal change only, but not a bigger change at all. Although we are a 3P, can you remember, students? We are a 3PL. Can you remember that, students? We provide warehousing services also. So in this case, this investment has not created any revenue efficiency at the moment. There is a slight improvement only. So that is that point of view. Are you understanding what I'm meaning there, Ranganathan? An example, Ranganathan, you think about Amazon. Amazon Prime. Can you remember Amazon Prime is like within 24 hours, you will get it. Correct, no, Ranganathan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Now, Amazon Prime, the objective you're saying should be overheads. That means operational efficiency. But did you see Amazon Prime effectively generated more revenue compared with Flipkart? Are you understanding what I'm saying there, Ranganathan? If you observe Flipkart versus Amazon Prime gave the time more faster, but it increased their revenue comparatively. So students understand it properly. This is not market share or revenue share, it's revenue growth. Revenue growth means, students, the differences between the last year revenue and this year revenue. Now, students, if you observe a basic explanation, if I'm not mistaken, you see here 2,347 is the current year revenue. And students, 2,154 is the revenue of the previous year. You divide it by the previous year's amount, and then you will get the growth. And the growth in this particular situation is 8.96%. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that calculation? It's not the revenue share. Revenue share in the market is different. This is the revenue growth. This is the revenue growth. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Now, students, now as a shareholder, I'm not satisfied. That is the point of view here. The performance is good, but as a shareholder, I'm not happy with it. Now, students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you are clear with this explanatory point, what I'm making sure, students? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, students, coming to the next one, that is operating cost. Now, we are evidencing that our operational cost increase is comparatively less than the operational cost increase from our competitor. And again, Ranganathan, coming to your point, again, Ranganathan, this automation has not effectively created a bigger difference. What do you think, Ranganathan? Just a 0.99 difference. Are you observing that, Ranganathan? Are you feeling that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, the biggest problem now, students, is the shareholders. You understand it very, very well, the shareholders. We are accountable to the shareholders. Again, I'm repeating. Now, the shareholders will ask you a question. You are using our money to invest, and the investments are only giving marginal returns. What is the point of that? Instead of this, you could have gone for something else, which would have been even better. So I will just write it down so that it will give you a proper application and a clarity for you all. So students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box? If you are understanding this point of view, students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood this point of view, that marginal changes. So I'll write down here. Daistruk investment in automation. Daistruk investment in automation has created a marginal change only. A marginal change, what, students? Only. Therefore, the shareholders will be concerned. The shareholders will be concerned regarding the cost benefit analysis. The cost benefit analysis of the project. Students, can I get a double Y in the chat box if you are understanding the questions that can come in the board meeting? That is the annual general meeting. Can I get a confirmation? They're marginal, students. We are the first in the market. Only a marginal differences only. So get that down very properly, students. Similarly, since carry is having air cargo, the cost may be higher. The cost may be higher as well. Since the fuel prices affect the cost. Students, if you do not mind, can you please highlight this sentence also somewhere, write it down, fuel cost. Students, can I ask you a question? Does the fuel cost have a direct relationship towards the logistic cost? Yes or no, students? Correct, no, students? Fuel cost. When the fuel prices are going up, the logistics cost also may go up. Correct, no, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all? Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, students. Perfect. Now, students, operational profit is 27.52. And here it's only 1.86. Now you see here, carry, if you see, students, 215, 219, only 4. Now, students, if you observe our company, let's look at here, 109 to 139. There's a 20 increment. There's a 20 increment compared with us and theirs. So students, what is your observation? How did we manage to increase our operating profit little higher? Although the revenue growth was less. Now you see here, students, revenue growth is 9. Operational cost growth is 8, but the operating profit growth has become almost 27.52. How did we achieve it? That is the question I'm asking. Can someone tell me, students? How did we achieve a 27% growth compared with 1.86 with our competitor? In other words, it's a dominating, I can say, growth. Can someone tell me, students? What was the secret behind it? Anyone? Ranganathan?
Introduction of this automated system.
No.
And
No. You are going back to management case study. No. So students, now here comes the application. Now
Sir,
students,
can I interrupt, sir?
yeah.
Sir, is it the, like, when the company was automated, people's trust, or like, share, more people might have invested in the company, or like,
No. I'll come to that. Thank you. It's nothing related to the automation, students. I'll quickly go to the ratio analysis. Now, students, observe here, the operation profit margin is only 6.99%, but carry is charging 9.33%. That means if carry makes a sales of 100, the margin they will have is 9 rupees. Okay. But if Daistruk makes a sales, the margin they will have is only 6.99%. So indirectly, what happens is we are following cost leadership model. Can I get a double Y in the chat box if you understood that operational profit margin? For every $100 sales, carry will have $9 profit, but Daistruk will have only $6 profit. So effectively, students, we are little bit economical compared with carry. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? Are you understanding that point of view there? Economical point of view. Margins, operating profit margins. Students, this is only known as the integrated way of thinking, because we are effectively having a less cost efficient business, cost leadership model. Carry is charging little higher than us. The reason for that is very clear. They have one fully intermodal system. So students, this is one rationale behind it. So I believe everyone got this point of view. We are a little cheaper compared with our competitor. And once we are cheaper, students, logistic is a support service. Correct, no, students? Yes or no? Logistic is not a it's not a main service, it's a support service. Correct, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. So in that case, students, what has happened is, students, we are providing an affordable rate. So this is the main reason for our operational growth to go up. So I believe everyone got that clearly. So I'll write down here. The operating profit margin of Daistruk, of whom, students, of Daistruk is less than whom, students, carry, which clearly indicates what, students, which clearly indicates that we are pursuing cost leadership model. What, students? Model. Understand it very clearly. We are pursuing what, students? Cost leadership model, where we are providing service at an affordable price. And also our integrated IT system. May be user friendly as well. Now I will give you a practical example. Uber versus Ola. I don't know about the Kerala market, but in Bangalore, Ola won the battle. Correct, no, Ranganathan. Ola is dominating the app market for transport in India. Correct, no, Ranganathan. Yes or no?
Yes, sir, yes. Sir.
The main reason how they were able to beat Uber was integrated systems, very user-friendly plus cost leadership. Because Ola is cheaper than Uber comparatively in the price war. So effectively, students, this is one reason we are having a very high level of operational profit growth. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? So we do have more customers. We do have more customers at the moment. So I'll write down here example, one of our key client. What is the name of our key client, students? We have one of our key client. You should know this as a finance manager. The name of our key client was Mudak. So can I write down here, students? Mudak Supermarket. One of our key client was whom, students? Mudak Supermarket. And indirectly, they are saying Mudak is very happy with us because we provide them with all the service as well. So one reason that our competitor may be doing well, we are having the fully loaded one, but we are effectively having something better. So students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you understood that? And one more thing, students, how many warehouse we own? Can someone remember? Can you remember, students? If I'm not mistaken, we own 35 warehouses. Can you remember this, students? 35 warehouses. So I'll write down here. Plus we have 35 shared warehouses, 35 shared students warehouses. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood the business model properly? Even the counter attack to our shareholders is, although we have automation system, it did not show very well because currently only we invested. Correct, no, students? Now, anything, whenever you invest, you can't expect instant results. It will be always a delayed gratification. It takes time. So in the long run, I think we can also reduce the cost even less and pass the benefit to the customer, where we increase our operational profits due to the units. Are you clear with this business model that we are pursuing compared with our competitors? Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you are clear with that, students? Can I get a double Y in the chat box if you are clear with that? Because you are now in the top level. The last part, if I'm not mistaken, can you just repeat it what I told? Because if you can tell me, I told many things. So it will be great if you can tell me which area. The keywords, if you can tell me, it will be great. So students, are you understanding the point of view very clearly, students? Because this is what matters. You have to think integrated wise. Because I can remember, students, when you invest on something, immediately you can't get the results. It will take time. And my understanding as a finance manager is, if the automation is successful, the cost will reduce. If the cost reduces, I think as per our business model, we will transfer the cost saving to the consumers, our business clients, which will earn us more business opportunities. So are you clear with that explanation, students? Can I move forward if you don't mind? Can I move forward if you don't mind, students? Can I get a confirmation, students? Can I get a Y in the chat box so that I'll go to the finance cost explanation, if you are fine with this, because this is very, very, very important point of view. Can I go forward? Yeah, I am assuming all are fine with this. So I will go forward, although no one has given any confirmation here. Now coming to the finance cost. Now students, if you observe the finance cost, if you see, very practically we can observe, students, there is only a slight growth of 7.69. And the bank loan also has grown by 7.69. Because students, if you observe our bank loan from 260, it has gone to 280. So proportionate growth in the interest, because we have taken some loan. And this loan would have taken to fund our IT systems and also the automation. So that will be one reason for that. And if you observe our competitor, we don't see any growth in their bank loan. Their bank loan, they have not utilized it. So the reason is they are not investing on technology much compared with us. We are effectively investing on technologies as well. And if you observe students, we can write that point here. The bank loan has increased. The bank loan has increased. The bank loan has what, students? Increased. This is the main reason for the interest to increase. For the interest to what, students? Increase. The bank loan has increased. This is the main reason for the interest to increase. The funding from the bank loan may be used for the automation of the container terminals. And also investment in the IT systems, investment in the IT systems as well. So students, I believe this is very clear for you all. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you get this explanation clearly, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you get this clearly? Also, there is no debt finance increase by carry, meaning they are not investing much on new technology, investing much on new technology. So students, get it very practically, students, get it very practically. So that is the basic ideology of this point of view. Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you understood our business model using numbers? Using numbers, you will get it very well. We are efficiently trying to increase our efficiency, make cost savings, pass it to the customers. That is the model we are doing, like Dell, Asus in the laptop market. Now, if you see the tax expenses has gone up by 25% because our profits are going up, and profit for the year has also effectively gone up by 30.95. So students, I will just write it here. Tax increases on proportion of profit growth. So that is very clear. Since we have a higher operational profit growth, the tax has also grown. The tax has also grown. Now, children, coming to the profit for the year, this is again one thing. The businesses in Roundland would prefer Daistruk since they are economical and providing, if I'm not mistaken, students, value to the customer. Therefore, the application is very strong to the market. In that case, they have retained the position well. Retain the position. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this effectiveness, students, because that is very, very important. Excellent. Thank you, students. Now, students, if you observe property plant, the maintenance only, you see, they have gone with 3.86, 3.72 replacement. Can you remember, students, asset replacement? Because students, in this logistic industry, containers will become rusted. The tires needs to be changed. Correct, no students? Yes or no? So I'll write down here the property plant growth, the property plant and equipment growth, and equipment growth, and equipment growth are mainly due to maintenance. Example, replacement. Understand it clear. Replacement of containers, tires, and other essential components. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that, students? Because that is one point of view. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Now, students, before I go into the ratio analysis, I want to give you some key insights of our shareholding position. Our beta factor is 1.27. Now, students, if the beta is more than 1, the entity specific risk is high. So I'll write down here, students, entity specific risk is high. Entity specific what, students? Risk is what, students? High. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? That is, the entity specific risk is high considering the industry. Now, students, the reason why it is high is delays plus accidents. Delays plus accidents can happen. When there is a delay in the shipment, when there are accidents in the roads, when there are traffic costs because of this, the share price will become more volatile. Now, students, if you observe here, the highest share price in this case is somewhat closer to 15. So this is the highest level they have achieved. They have achieved that somewhere in 2022 end. And the lowest one, if I'm not mistaken, is 4, which is somewhere in 2020. And the current price is 11. These are my judgment, students. So just remember, these are our judgments. So it has gone to 15, it has gone to 4. And the current price is how much, students? It's 11. So the deviation level is little higher. So the portfolio has a high risk element. Can I get a confirmation from you? Because from 15 to 4, the difference is 11. You understand what I'm saying? Because the deviation, it has dropped to 4, it has gone to 15. Currently, it is in 11. So just have the share price knowledge, because it's very, very important when it comes to the application. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are completely fine with this growth analysis, what we have done? Because growth analysis is over at the moment. And Priscilla, I think you need to have a very high level of improvement, because I believe you are seeing the differences from the ratios what you have done and the application what has been mentioned in the classroom. Yeah. So other students, please make sure that you improve this analytical skill. Now, students, coming to the financial analysis, that is the ratio analysis I have done. Now, students, here I have used the operating profit margin. That is the operating profit divided by the revenue. So I'll write down here operating profit divided by the revenue into 100. This is the formula which I used. Now, students, in this case, if you see, our operational profits are comparatively lower. And if you observe one thing, we have increased our margin. Now here we have, they have decreased the margin. Do you see there's a slight change in value? Here there's a slight increase in value. Students, the increase in value, I think you can observe, there is some cost addition to the automated functions. Can I get a Y in the chat box? They have invested in the automated function. There will be some cost incurred for that. And they have done that marginal absorption costing, and they have added that automation price to this. That's the reason for the slight change in the operational profit margin. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you can understand that point of view? But still, we are still cheaper with our competitors. Are you clear with that point of view, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that point of view?
Can you explain that again, sir, please? Sorry.
Yeah. Now, if you see 6.02 and here it is going to 6.99, that means you have increased your profit margin rate. That means you are charging a little higher from the customers compared with your last year. That is the meaning there. Is that fine? Can you quickly respond,
Yes,
please?
sir. Yes, sir.
Because I'm doing it for you. So there is a increase. Okay, is that fine? So that increase has been caused mainly because of the automation. Are you clear with that?
Yes,
And
sir.
that automation they are charging from the customers. That is the meaning there. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all if you understood the rationalizing, how you are connecting the numbers to the situation? Because that is very, very, very important in the strategic level point of view, the dimensional way of thinking. Now I'm going to write the answer for that so that it will be very clear for you all here. So I'll write down here the operational profit margin. The operational profit margin has increased marginally, in the accounts of Daistruk, in the accounts of whom, students? Daistruk, in the accounts of Daistruk. This is mainly due to the automated systems, the automated logistics functions in container terminals, being absorbed to the selling price. Is absorbed to the cost. However, with this additional value, still we are lesser cost compared with whom, students? Compared with carry. So students, this is the point of view. That means carry has reduced their prices a little bit, but still we are better than carry, still with the changes also. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are understanding that point of view? Because carry is in a different business model. We are in a different business model. Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, students, can we go to the profit before tax margin? I believe that is also clear. And even if you see the profit before tax margin also, you can clearly observe the differences, students. You can clearly observe the differences. So I will just write it down so that it will be very clear. Slight increase. So same application only goes in that, if I am not mistaken. So I'll write down here the same idea of cost being added by Daistruk is reflected, and still the margins are lower than carry. So if carry wants to compete with us, they have to go for a higher level of innovation. In case if they cannot go for a higher level of innovation, students, they have to make sure they come up with some cost reduction or a cost transformation. Can our operating profit increase also due to the admin cost we charge to customers at port? Actually, if you see, that has increased not because only of the admin cost, it was prevailing. This may be generally because of the new terminals, everything. Because if you generally observe, the admin cost will be in the longer term a controllable cost for an established organization. For a company which is in the starting stage only, overheads are very much uncontrollable. So that's the point of view. You can edit down, but get it down very clearly, students, the structures of how we are operating in the market. Students, ROCE, if you observe, here comes the change. Here comes the change. Now, ROCE, our competitors are better compared with our ROCE. What is the reason? The reason is very simple. Although they are making very low amount of sales, their margins are higher, effectively contributing more to the capital employed. A basic example, students, Toyota will have a lower ROCE compared with Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce sales may be very low in units, but Rolls-Royce will effectively yield, that means generate return more to their investors and providers of funders because they're charging more from the people. So that is the ideology there. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood that? Samsung and Apple. Apple's ROCE and ROI will be definitely higher compared with Samsung because they are charging more. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. So I believe that ideology is very, very critical. So if I am not mistaken, I will merge this together and I will write the application very, very clearly. The margins plays a vital role in ROCE and ROI. In this case, carry has more ROCE and ROI since they are focusing on premium service where they retain more profit. They retain more what, students? Profit. Can you remember if you sell for $100, the carry company will have $9 profit. And if you see Daistruk will have $6 profit. So they retain more profit. This has resulted in more returns to carry compared with whom, students? Compared with Daistruk. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood how the business model is affecting these ratios? Because that is very, very, very important for understanding. And one of the main reasons they are able to charge is air cargo. That is the point of view. Thank you. Now, students, if you observe the gearing ratio, we are at 60 and our competitor is at 40. So students, understand it very well. At the moment, we are having a more gearing ratio compared with our competitors. So this will be a potential issue also because students, we are a little geared. So there are high chances our asset beta will go up or our company stock value will go up. The risk, because the shareholders will get generally less dividends when the interest is very high. So that is one point of view to understand. So this is one thing to keep in mind, students, because there will be a question on financing option. So when there is a question on financing option in the examination, you need to cite these numbers. Again, I'm repeating, students, when there is a question on financing options in the examination, the student needs to cite these two numbers very much. So I'll write it down very openly and very clearly so that it will be very easy for you. So initially I'll write down here, exam focus. In exams, they may ask a question relating to funding option. Therefore, please remember the current gearing ratio is 60.45. Which will be a bigger challenge to raise finance. But we have asset collaterals like 35 warehouses, shared warehouses, fleet of vehicles, fleet of trucks, and also automated systems and IT functions. So students, get it very clearly, students, this will be a bigger challenge for us. It's quite high proportion of debt, that's correct. It's quite high proportion of debt, that's correct. Now, students who generally go for the exam, they forget this. Now, when you're writing an answer in your examination, if you write an answer without mentioning the current situation, the chances of passing is very low. So please, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that red color note there, students? Very, 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 very important for the exam point of view.
I have a question, sir. Just a quick one.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
If Carry are competitors operating a premium product, wouldn't you think that their gearing will be much higher than ours? And
it depends on the funding, right? It depends on the funding. The reason is you can still operate a premium product provided you have funded the majority of the finance using equity capital. You understand the point of view.
Yes, sir.
So that is the understanding there. So students, get down it very clearly, students. We are going with this model and it's a very risky model at the moment. And one thing, students, if you observe our risk register, did we have anything related to the risk of financial issues, students, in the risk register? Can I get a confirmation, students, that was missing in the risk register? Can I get a confirmation there, students? So can I write down here? Financial risk ignored in risk register. Can I write it down, students? Financial risk ignored in risk register. Ignored in risk register. Now you see Kingfisher Airlines in India. How did they survive in the market? Is they ignored the financial risk in the risk register. So can I get that idea? So I'll write down here example Kingfisher Airlines. Example Kingfisher Airlines. Correct, no, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that financial risk point there, students? Because that is also something very, very important factor to be considered. So can I move on with the next point of view, students, if I'm not mistaken? The interest cover ratio, the asset turnover ratio. So I'm looking at the interest cover, 9.93 if you see, and the competitor is having 8.25. So I'll write down here, the credit rating of Carry will be better compared with Daistruk. Now, students, one exam point of view, so I'll just write it down. One more thing, business combination. Business combination. Business combination is merger and acquisition. Merger and what, students? Acquisition. Now, students, I have to be very transparent here so that you will understand that application very, very well. Now, when there is a merger and acquisition, one more factor that plays is credit rating. Correct me if I'm wrong, students, because our current credit rating is very poor. Now, Priscilla, if there is an option to acquire another company, the biggest challenge we have is currently we are geared. How can we acquire a company when we are geared? Are you understanding that question? Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? The company itself is currently having a very high level of gearing. And the biggest issue is how can we get finance to acquire another business? Can I get a confirmation there, students? Because this is the area where students miss out in the examination. Generally, they forget this in the examination, but that is a very, very important point of view. I believe that's fine for the students in the classroom. So students, asset turnover 2.81, 2.70. But if you observe here, it is 3.21 and 3.60 times, 06 times. The efficiency of the assets are even better in carry. And if you see our one, it's almost less marginally. The main reason is sometimes our warehouse may be having excess capacity also. And students, can you remember our IT systems are very good. So what happens is our IT system will always track the goods, what are needed and what are not needed. So what happens is the IT system will give data, and effectively our assets or the warehouse sometimes will be having less number of stocks because of IT system efficiency as well. So I'll write down here the asset turnover ratio. The asset turnover ratio is generally lower compared to carry. The main reason can be spare capacity in the warehouse, since we have a strong IT system. Therefore, in exams, please be careful on making more utilization of the resources. Now, if you have more space, what you can do, that will be another question coming in the examination. Remember that properly. So can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with that, students, because that's a very important point there. Now, students, how did I calculate asset turnover? I have to give you a small guidance. Turnover means revenue. I believe everyone is very clear. Okay, and in here, I take the capital employed, not the non-current asset. I took the capital employed. This is what the current way we do, because capital employed doesn't have depreciation. Capital employed is effectively the finance fund. So in this case, students, if you observe the revenue for 2022 is 1,989. So I'll write down here 1,989. That's very clear. Now, students, the equity finance is 428. So can I write down here 428? That is also fine. And the borrowing is 280. So this is the total capital. Now see, asset equals equity plus debt. Equity is this, debt is this. So the total of these two is asset. So this total value is the capital employed, the asset value generating revenue. So that is in times 2.81 times. It's very good, but compared with our competitor, it's a little less because we have railway compartments. Can you remember, students? Railway has more capacity compared with the trucks. Railway has more capacity. So are we using the railways properly? Are we using that? So all these are questions that the student needs to keep in mind. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if the asset turnover point of view is fine from your end, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, students, coming to the inventory days. Now, it's not even one day. It's not even one day we are having inventories. Even our competitor. The main reason is, students, effectively our inventories are not our own. We don't own inventories. We don't own inventories. We are just an intermediary for the inventory management. So I'll write down here, since the 3PL business model is only a platform, it's only a platform to hold inventory. Since the companies does not have the ownership right, therefore, the inventory days is 0. Inventory days is 0. They are having some minimal inventory that may be stationary. Students, do we need to have stationary, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all? Yes or no? Do we need to have stationary? Yes or no, students, in the warehouse? Definitely. Do we need to have tire students? Yes or no? Not bigger number of tires, some spare tires. Yes or no, students? Do we need to have some spare parts? Now, these are like normal inventories. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you got that clearly, students? Get the industry very, very well. That is very, very, very important in order to pass this paper. Now, students, moving forward, boxes, pallets. I can use the term here, pallets. Pallets will be a good point. Thank you, Priscilla. Pallets is a good point. That is the wooden type of boxes specifically used in this. Now, receivable days is a bigger challenge because industry-wise, you see the customers, the B2B clients are taking almost 1.5 months to pay, not only for us, even for our customers also, even for our competitors also. Students, it's an industry norm we can assume, but still students, we have to create a disruption to prevent this, Now, I will come to that later. So initially I'll write down the note first. The receivable days are higher since it may be an industry practice to offer 1.5 month credit period in average. Full stop. Students, just point of view. We have warehouse. We supply to B2B customers and they supply to the consumers. Correct, no, students? Example like milk. Milk is directly supplied from here to the customer. The customer walks to the store and buy it. Students, can there be a situation we develop our online store like Alibaba did? And can we directly give it to the customer? Can this go to our Alibaba model? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Alibaba, there is a website from China. They directly give to the customer. They don't go to the retailers. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? It's little different from Amazon. Amazon is little expensive, but Alibaba is even cheaper because from the direct warehouse, you can get the product to your home. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? That is one method that we can reduce the receivable time. We directly reach the customer's hand. So I'll write down here one strategy. So I'll write down here business strategy. We can directly approach the customer. We can directly approach the customers like Alibaba. This can reduce the receivable days. Students, I believe everyone got this point of view clearly. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that application there, students? If you are clear with that application, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? How Alibaba is related here? Okay, I'll explain it once again. So Priscilla, can you take the moderation if you don't mind, Priscilla?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So students, now see here, there is a manufacturer. Now let's assume the manufacturer is Samsung. Okay. So Samsung will have a logistic partner, and that logistic partner, let's assume Alibaba Shipping. Now what they do, they bring the stocks and keep it in their warehouse, shared warehouse, and it goes to the retail stores, whatever the business wants. And what happens is from the retail stores, it goes to the customer. Now, if you see our business also goes as the same. Now, the one of our major business is Mudak supermarket. So what happens is our shop, that is Daistruk, is in the Alibaba's position. They goes to the Mudak's supermarket, correct? Mudak supermarket. And then it goes to the hands of the customer. Now, these guys takes 51 days to pay our dues because they have that bargaining power, we say. So what did Alibaba did was, if you go to the website, Alibaba directly sells the goods to the customer. So they take out the intermediary out. Now that is what I'm saying. There are chances that we can go for a leap forward strategy. A leap forward strategy. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Priscilla, did you understand leap forward strategy, Priscilla? Are you clear with that? Yeah. So students, this is only known as a leap forward strategy. You can go like that to eliminate this barrier. So effectively, students, the time taken to collect our cash will be 53 days, mainly because of our suppliers delaying. Now, trade payables. In other words, students, trade payables effectively is like the IT system service providers, in simple language, the where.
So does this mean that Alibaba works like a seller as well as an inventory holder?
Yeah.
Okay.
So students get it clearly. So if you get it right, the trade payables, if you see, it's going in these ranges. I believe that is very clear. So indirectly, what happens is, students, our trade payables also we have a tight control, but still for 9 days or almost like 10 days, we are having some working capital issues. You can observe because it takes 53 days to collect money, and our suppliers like who provide us containers, who provide us the logistics services, who does our work of storage, all those things, they come in 44 days. So we have a gap of 9 to 8 days, but our competitor has managed it better because they have make sure now they have full intermodal service. So what happens is almost zero. They are setting off it very quickly. So we are having an issue, but we can go forward and settle this issue as well. So I'll just write down here a small point of view so that it will be very clear. A slight cash flow issue can be visible. Cash flow issue can be visible, since there is a potential of slow payment to the suppliers, to the trade payables, I'll assume, which needs to be eliminated, That means, students, in simple language, one of our biggest challenge, it may be looking like an operational challenge, students, but the biggest challenge is students, understand it very practically, students. The biggest challenge is this 53 days, we need to reduce it to somewhere around 40 days. So how can we do it? Only one way. We can negotiate it or increase the value additions. That is one way. Students, can I get a confirmation? But that's the operational level issue only. And coming to the dividend payout, students, 83, 85, almost similar. How did I calculate dividend payout? The profit for the year, 110. Of that profit, dividend was 92 into 100, 83.64%. Can I get a confirmation from you if you understood the dividend payout ratio? Technically, students, it's not a good dividend payout ratio in the industry point of view, very big number, industry point of view. And the reason for that is high level of beta. So I'll write down here the biggest reason for higher. The higher dividend is basically due to higher beta. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? The higher dividend is basically because of the higher beta and the industry risk. Students, I believe everyone got this clearly. It's not an easy industry. It's a very tough industry. So can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand it properly, students? If you are able to understand it properly. Thank you. So students, now if you observe, can we do some conclusion of our understanding? so that it will be very easy in the exam point of view. Conclusions. Daistruk is leading what students cost leadership model. Compared with whom students? Compared with whom students? If I am not mistaken, compared with Carey. Students, are you clear with this explanation? Yes or no? This is one factor to be considered. The gearing ratio is 61%, which is a factor to be considered. Factor to be considered. Correct, no, students? Yes or no? That is also one more factor to be considered. The automation investment may yield better efficiencies in the future. May yield better efficiency in the future. There is some working capital issues as well. Therefore, negotiation with the trade receivable and the trade payable is essential. That is also done. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, dividend payout is higher. Because of beta factor. Because of what factor, students? Beta factor. Can I get a confirmation there, students? Are you understanding this application properly, students? This application properly? Daistruk can consider air cargo facilities as well. That is one more factor. Anything which I missed, students? You all can tell me. Is it fine? Did I miss anything? I can add your points. Priscilla, did I miss anything? No. No. Okay. I'll just have a quick recap. One thing, financial risk ignored in the risk register. Students, I believe this is very, very clear for you all. Can I get a double Y in the confirmation, students, if you are fine with this point of view? I think it was a very good analysis, frankly speaking. Again, I'm telling students, don't only follow me. Now, can you all remember when we had our initial discussion, Anson and Ranganathan, what happened was automation, linear thinking happened. Correct, no, Ranganathan? For everything you told automation. Can you all remember? Can you all make a note? Linear thinking should transform into dimensional thinking. Dimensional thinking is thinking with different point of view. Can I get a double Y, students, if you understood that? Because linear thinking is dangerous. Linear thinking is OCS, little bit of MCS. This should end up from linear thinking to what, students? Dimensional what, students? Thinking. Many ways. Thinking from 3D point of view or 4D point of view. Linear thinking is just a straight way of thinking. Can I get a double Y from your students? Generally, if you don't have any questions in the ratio analysis. Thank you, Anson. Thank you, Anson. And students, don't worry. These are just the introduction. You will be trained with efficiency. Don't worry. Everything is a learning. Get engaged. A humble request, get engaged. Now, if you speak to Mr. Ibsel, if you speak to Miss Priscilla or Arun, those who have done the ratio analysis would have got a better insight. Correct? No, Priscilla? Yes or no? Because it's not about getting the correct answer, it's getting the experience. Agree, no, Priscilla? Yes or no? Yeah, thank you. Now, students, I'm going for the one-to-one question and answer session. So I will start from the alphabetical order. Miss Anitra, any questions for the day?
Sir, the automation currently it's not providing much efficiency, but later on it will, right? So
Definitely.
will the profit, like next year's profit probably, if it's higher, could we account it to this automation?
Technically speaking, Anitra, it will not take next year also. It will take a couple of years, if I'm not mistaken, like the Kochi
Okay.
Metro. Now, Kochi Metro, Anitra, do you think immediately did they make money, or it will take some time? Some time, right?
Yeah, it
Anitra,
will
if
take
I'm not-
time. Yeah.
It will take time, students, because practically very open. You can't compare Chennai Metro and Bangalore Metro with Kochi Metro because population is less. But Kochi Metro will become successful, not immediate. It will take some time. So you need to have some patience as well. Correct, Anitra?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank-
Okay,
thank
thank you.
Thank you. Miss Annie, any questions for the day? Mr. Anson, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Aqualine, any questions for the day?
No questions. I'm still trying to catch up and follow.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Ashish, any questions for the day?
Sir, you have, if I'm not wrong, the working capital of management of carry is better than Daistruk, right?
Yeah.
But any reasons as to why that could be the case?
The reason is they're having a better control over their supplies. Now, if you observe the cash cycle, I think the inventory days is 0. Okay. Now, example, when you give a service to your clients, they will not pay you money immediately. It will take 51 days. So it will take effectively 51 days to receive money. That is only cash cycle. Clear? Is that fine?
Okay. Yes.
Now you have taken the services from your suppliers, container, terminals, all those things also on a credit basis. So if you look at carry, they are effectively telling their suppliers, we will pay you back in 52 days. So they are collecting money in 51 days and they are paying back in 52 days. So effectively, they don't have a working capital problem with their suppliers. They have money on time. Is that fine?
Okay. So they have better negotiation with their suppliers.
Now you see here on contrast, the gas cycle is 51.81 for our company, but our suppliers are asking their money back within 44 days. So effectively, we are having a working capital problem. Is that clear?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Miss Cleopatra, any questions for the day?
So I wanted to find out, I'm not sure if you can hear me. My network is terrible.
I can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to find out, you mentioned that the finance risk is not in the risk register. Is it a good or is it a bad thing?
Actually, it's not a professional thing for a listed company because its transparency must be very high towards their shareholders. So they have not mentioned anything related to the financial risk to their shareholders. So indirectly, I'm saying it's not a good policy. Is that clear?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Miss Elizabeth, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ibzal, any questions for the day? Mr. Lakmal, any questions for the day?
Mr. Nufil, 2 more questions.
Yeah.
One, that the financial cost has been ignored here, you said. So it plays a vital role, no? Because our gearings are
Yeah, very high. Financial risk is not at all mentioned.
So how it is, what is the impact? I mean, how it is going to affect?
Corporate governance issues can come. And also there can be an issues relating to the professional due case on code of ethics. Correct, no, Mr. Lakmal, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Agree, no? So
Yeah,
that is also one biggest issue, because if they are not showing this to the shareholders in case of a bankruptcy, like Jet Airways in India, they closed down the business mainly because of
financial
debts.
cost. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and they never showed it in the financial statements. That was the biggest issue. I can speak to Ranganathan or Anson little quickly so that it will be even more clearer for them. Ranganathan, can I quickly talk to you if you don't mind? If you're
Yes, sir,
following
yes.
in Kerala, the government is hiding their debts. Are you aware about that, Ranganathan?
Yes, sir, very much.
Very much. No, students, one of the biggest problem with the state government of Kerala compared with Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh is Kerala government is not showing their debts, because Kerala government is running towards the debts and it is very much unknown. Anyone doesn't know. So that's the biggest financial risk a state will face, which little happened to Sri Lanka also. Correct, no, Mr. Lakmal, if I'm not mistaken. So the state government of Kerala does little bit of closer to Sri Lanka where they are hiding their debts. Is that fine, Mr. Lakmal?
Yeah, Mr. Nufail. Mr. Nufail, one more question. The capital employed, it is representing the profitability and also the efficiency of the company. So this company has invested a lot heavily on automation, but it is not reflected in the financials.
Frankly speaking, Mr. Lakmal, if you observe, there is only a 29 change in assets. Correct, no, Mr. Lakmal? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 19. Correct, no, Mr. Lakmal? The change in property plant is only 19. Agree, no, Mr. Lakmal? If I am not mistaken, that is clear, no? And then if you see the goodwill, there has been no change at all. Now, what you are saying is 100% agreeable, because the reason is we are not effectively observing any changes in the automation in the financial statements. It's a very good question. So I'll quickly go to the automation part so that it will be very clear. They have purchased 40 VB1 and 3000 straddle carriers. Now all are which fully automated. Okay. So software and the sensors enable this carrier to operate without any drivers. Now that's a practical question what you are asking. It is not reflected. So can I just write down it is emphasis on matter, Mr. Lakman? Can I just mention that? It's a, in audit opinion, it's an emphasis on matters. Where is that? Correct. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Lakmal. Can I just write it down, students, that point of view? So I'll write down here. The financial statements of Daistruk is not reflecting the major investment of automation of, if I'm not mistaken, 40 VV bond and 3000, if I'm not mistaken, straddle carriers. Therefore, this is an emphasis on matter. Emphasis on matter is when questions start like this, students, emphasis of matters, we say, auditors will tell something, this should be something, should be relevant, because when the question comes, you will struggle. Now, the way what Mr. Lakmal did is like a real life external audit they do. They will ask this question and they will ask you if this is not there, it's not our business, but the management will struggle with the shareholders. That is the point of view. So I can say it's an emphasis on matter. It's not mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Lakmal. Any other points, Mr. Lakmal?
Thank you so much, Mr. Nufail. Thanks.
Welcome. So the next person is Mr. Koza. Mr. Koza, any questions for the day?
No question, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Munjala, any questions for the day?
Just a question. It's my first case study. I was just wondering, when the real exam we get to see the financial data, will it be the same, or could they add in other things? Like,
Technically speaking, it will be like your office work. They will definitely add some value additions for sure, but you have to continue with this knowledge with that value addition. Example, in case if they say they are going to take another loan of 20 million or 30 million, that will be a value addition. But you have to say the relevance. Is it possible with our 61% gearing to go for another loan? Is that clear?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Miss Rachel, Jerry, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you very much, students. It was an excellent session and a fruitful session. So I will meet you up on the Friday class where I will be doing stakeholder analysis, which will be the directors. Corporate governance will be the topic on the Friday class. Thank you very much, students. Take care, students. Good night, everyone.
Hey, so I have a question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good night. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned something about calculating the asset turnover. You mentioned something about us not being too quick to offer that. Can that come into the conclusion as well?
I didn't understand the question properly, Priscilla, because
Can
you repeat?
You did a calculation of the asset turnover.
Okay. Here, I have done the calculation. Yeah.
I think you said you left a note in the ratio saying that it's something we have to consider not to offer, like in case of a collateral or anything that we need to offer, we should not be so quick to offer that because our asset needs to be remained for. Can you go over that again for me, please?
No, it's not clear, Priscilla. I'm not understanding what you are saying. You are saying asset turnover, I understand, and you are saying collateral. If you can give me some illustration, it will be very
One
clear.
factor that we can put in the conclusion in terms of considering the fact that even though our assets and our debts are kind of like high, we can't just offer that. So if you go back, can you go back into the ratio? You left a note in there.
For asset turnover?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You said it's lower compared to carrier. The main reason can be capacity, but then you did we should not utilize it. Careful on making more utilization of the resources. What did that
Correct.
mean? Yeah.
That means if you observe, very, very simple. Now, if we have around 25 warehouses, now what happens is our automated, the IT system is very strong. So all the goods are going out immediately as per the needs, like a JIT system we are having, just in time system. So what happens is technically our warehouse around 30% is empty, spare resources. The resource is empty not because we are inefficient, because our systems are very strong. So we have to find some alternative how to use these empty resources. Is that fine?
Yes, sir. That makes sense. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Thank you. Any other questions? Is that okay?
No more questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, students.